Payday 2. Easy on the wallet, but is it worth your time?
We spend way too much money and time customizing masks that we barely ever see in order to find out here on Broke and Gaming.
Welcome, absolutely everyone, to Broke and Gaming. I'm your host, Shea.
I am your other host, Dan, and we are barreling through our AAA Summer Series, but before we get to that, hey Shea, what have you been playing recently?
Well, Dan, it's been a host of games, actually. I have been dipping my toes into a lot of things because I have finished many times over Far Cry 5. So I'm trying to scratch a very particular itch that I'm just not landing right now.
Yeah.
I have played a game called Elix, which is a fusion of science fiction and fantasy open world RPG games. It's a very strange game that got a sequel, so it must level out at some point, I guess.
As the Vine series has a bunch of sequels, as we mentioned in the last episode. So
true. But they are developing a third one, and I think building their own engine to make it. So
yeah.
That's something. I played a game called Frostpunk, which is like a survival town builder.
Yeah, I've looked at that a whole lot of times because I like, generally speaking, and this isn't 100% of the time, but I like the steampunk aesthetic. And so I had it, I was like, I think this will be what I like about it, but I don't love Sims in that way, and that's what it seemed to be. So tell me on this. I want to know what this exactly is without actually trying it.
So basically, you have to contend with harsh conditions while you build your population by establishing different buildings with dwindling resources and sending out these search parties to find more. You say sell it. I'm not going to because I don't like it.
Okay. It's like RTS style?
Yeah, it's okay. Remember the game Stellaris that I was talking about a couple episodes ago?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you're familiar with that game, but it's very similar to that, just mixed in with extra survival elements.
I see.
Yeah. Pacing issues in Frostpunk also.
So don't try it.
I mean, I would try it.
Is it free?
Believe so, yeah.
Okay. If it's free on PlayStation Plus, maybe I'll give it a cursory glance.
Yeah, if it's not, it's $30. So if it's not free, no. But yeah, I've also been playing Magicka 2, which is a game that I like, theoretically.
Mm-hmm.
They have this really cool element mixing mechanic in there, and then they don't really capitalize on it enough, which is frustrating, but it's fun and you get what you put in. A kind of a game,
Sure.
So I'm enjoying that one. I don't know what the price tag is on that, but we could potentially cover it. And then Witcher 3, which
let's because you had mentioned something to me off podcast, and I was elated because it's an opinion that isn't shared by most people, and without ever telling you that this was my feeling on the game, you agreed wholeheartedly. So, how did you like Witcher 3, Shea?
I don't.
I'm doing a pose. Nobody can see it except for a cat, but yeah.
Our guest on the Dragon Age episode, Aaron, he actually mentioned, I don't remember if I left it in the episode or not, but he mentioned that Witcher 3 was a prime example, or maybe you did actually, but in a discussion of, but either way, somebody said that Witcher 3 is the quintessential PC game, Yeah. And I don't think that that's what I don't like about it. I think I just might be bad at it. And there are too many layers to the controls.
It's very hard to do on a console.
Yeah.
Given all the things that are at your disposal.
Mm-hmm.
In a way that's significantly more complicated than Dragon Age.
Yes.
Everything about it, it's just smarter to have it hot swapped keys, and being able to use a mouse and keyboard setup just makes so much more sense for what that game wants you to be able to do.
Yeah, I think that the problem with it being on a console is that for PC, you're doing everything real time. You know what I mean? You're in the middle of a fight, you have to find a space to drink a potion or whatever. But on the console, just because of the limited number of buttons, it has to pause combat for you to... And I don't think it pauses it completely, but it slows it down to the point where you have like so much time to do what you want.
Right.
And it does it takes you out of it a little bit.
Yeah, I had the exact same problem. Like, I probably gave it about an hour and a half before I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And, you know, it is such a story-driven game that a whole lot of that was like, not necessarily cutscene, but dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
The parts that I played, I'm like, I don't feel like I'm getting anything out of this.
Yeah.
Like, and Wild Hunt seems to be the definitively better version of what Witcher 3 is.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I might give that a shot at some point, but I don't know. You were gonna say about the story though.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say that the opposite actually. The story was like really interesting, and like even the like side quest stuff was interesting to an extent. I don't like the follow this person around the entire map looking for very small scraps of clues until you eventually find them 40 hours into the game.
Yeah.
But the side mission stuff was interesting enough to kind of hold my attention when I got bored of looking for Ciri for hours at a time. So like that aspect of it was great. It's just that like combat really kind of takes you out of it on a console.
I agree with that.
Yeah. How about you, Dan? What have you been playing?
All right, so first thing I've been playing a bunch of just in my off time. I've been trying to get more into DC comics because Marvel has just been such a disappointment recently with the movies and television shows and kind of bailing on certain premises and whatever. Like, I don't know if you watched any of Secret Invasion, but it is not a good sign for where everything is going.
Cool.
So I'm like, all right, James Gunn's jumping ship. He's going to be taking over creative for the DCCU or whatever it is that they call their stuff, but their cinematic universe.
Yeah.
And I love the Guardians films. I think they're among the best of what Marvel had to offer. So I'm like, all right, let me get back into DC. Let me familiarize myself more with these characters. And I found a mobile game. It's just a match 3 shitty DC game, but it's
sure.
I've been enjoying it. It's a good time waster. So that's all that needs to be said about that.
Not even going to give us the name of it, Dan?
I don't know it. I couldn't tell you. It's Justice League something or other. I can tell you that.
Sure.
But it's, you run missions, you do match 3s, you have a party of 5.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Vandal Savage is currently my strongest character.
Yikes.
Who's like, well, like I have Batman, I have Robin, I have like a couple like very well-known characters. It's just for some reason Vandal Savage is my strongest dude.
Sure.
But I didn't get to cover this in a just because we've been having guests on and whatever, but a couple weeks ago I had played a game called The Wild at Heart, which I really enjoyed. I knocked it out in maybe like 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it's an indie version of Pikmin, and it is so delightful. Really charming story, really easy to play. One of the coolest games I played recently on the indie aspect of things. I don't want to say too much because if we do get a price drop, it currently retails at $25. If it goes below 20, I would really like to cover it for the show, so I don't want to spoil too much about it, but really, really fun game. I mean, that's basically it. I did dip my toe into the most recent The World Ends With You game, and I got really overwhelmed and confused by everything that was going on because it is like peak anime, and I couldn't deal with it at the time. I was too scatterbrained, so I did like a couple missions and I'm like, all right, I'll get back to this at some point. I remember really enjoying the original DS version, and this is not like that at all. It's just a whole different battle system, and I don't remember enough about the premise of the first one because I played it right when it came out for the DS, which had to have been 15 something years ago minimum.
Yeah.
Back when people gave a shit about actual handheld games. But we have a whole lot of things that we know we're going to be talking about for today's game, so I think we should probably just dive right in. And we will start, as we always start, with our short change history. Today, we're discussing Payday 2, which is a 2013 co-op first-person shooter developed by Swedish game studio Overkill Software and published by 505 Games. Back in 1997, brothers Ulf and Bo Anderson founded Grin, a game company that had developed several games for publishers like Ubisoft and Capcom before filing for Chapter 11 a few months after the commercial and critical failure of the Terminator Salvation tie-in game that they released in May, in May of 2009. The same year, the Andersons went on to found Overkill with longtime collaborator and composer Simon Viklund, and immediately began development on the first Payday game. After moderate success with the first Payday, the studio wanted to develop a sequel, but lacked the financial resources to do so. They sought help from another studio based in Stockholm, Sweden, Starbreeze Studios, who were working on Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons at the time. As a result, on paper, Overkill was acquired by Starbreeze, but in reality, the studio essentially merged to pool resources, with the Andersons being the majority shareholders of the new joint venture. After the release of Payday 2, Ulf and Bo had a falling out, with those close to the Payday team citing Ulf's burnout during the Payday 2 development process. Bo bought out Ulf's shares, but after being faced with financial issues yet again, he eventually stepped down as CEO in 2018. The rest is far too complicated to get into, but after the Payday IP and Starbreeze leadership changed hands several times over, Payday 3 is set to release in September 2023, a month away from the time of this recording. The remastered Payday 2 Crime Wave Edition is currently available for PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and PC platforms. Shea, that was a whole lot. But would you like to tell our listeners what Payday 2 is actually about?
I would love to, Dan. In Payday 2, you play as a team of robbers who hold up and, well, rob from a variety of various stores, and in one instance, a train station, military compounds, all kinds of shit that doesn't make any sense for these for these criminals to be taken down. But working together with up to 3 other players, you, essentially invade these stores and locations to acquire assets, escape from police pressure, and, I don't know, be the richest of them all.
Yeah, that works for me.
That was not,
all right.
Objectively, not good, but...
This is, like, such a weird game because it's simple and complex at the same time.
Oh my god, yeah.
So this is one of the first games Shea and I were able to play online together, out of what we've covered. And I have gone on record multiple times over to say that I'm not much of an online player, but this kind of requires it. A couple of the missions, I was like, I have to hold off until Shea is available to do this because this is miserable. The AI is so bad.
Yeah.
Because no matter what, it's a team of 4. So it's either you and a bunch of AIs, or any one of those other 3 characters can be filled in by an online player. And you can do just online matchmaking, where you join random squads of people, or there are ways to do it where it's friends only. I only did the friends only with Shea, and it's fine. Like, the setup is fine, but there were some really specific issues that we had overall outside of just the AI. And I don't want to make this a whole pro-con thing, but, like, there isn't enough to really discuss in terms of any sort of meat, because it's just mission.
Yeah.
For the most part, unconnected. Shea and I didn't discover that there was an actual quote-unquote story mode, which is using the term as loosely as possible, until, what, Shea, 3 days ago? 2 days ago?
Yes.
And that was after playing it for, like, 2 weeks straight. And even that, like it really is a stretch to say that's what it is, because it is just a string of missions that just go in, I guess, chronological order. That's all. Like, it doesn't necessarily matter. So, I don't even know where to start.
Well, do you want to talk about gameplay real quick?
Yeah. So, as Shea said during, the what this is actually about, it is just set up as heist missions. This has the same kind of feel as, like, I don't know, a Counter-Strike or anything like that, where it's you and a team, you have an objective, you fulfill that objective, and whatever else. As opposed to playing against actual players or even AI teams, it's just wave after wave after wave of cops and or thugs and or whatever.
Yeah.
It's all in first-person shooter mode. There is no third-person option. So no matter what, you're just looking down the barrel.
Yep.
How do you think it played overall?
I think it was fine. I don't think it... I was, I'll be honest with you, extremely frustrated that the throwable button was the left D-pad arrow. That drove me nuts. But otherwise, I don't think... I mean, it didn't really add anything new to the genre. It didn't really take anything away from the genre. It was fine. It was pretty standard FPS fare.
Yeah. The difficulty scaling is outrageous.
Yeah, it fucking is.
Like, so there's... I guess it would be 6 difficulty levels standard. There are ones that go beyond. Like, I've seen, like, difficulty of, like, 7 or 8 skulls where they just tack them onto the end. And I think that came with, like, DLC stuff.
Yeah.
Which we're definitely going to get to some of the DLC stuff in this because it is fucking crazy. But the normal mode, there's no easy, so it's just, it starts at normal, is a cakewalk. Realistically. Like, under-equipped cops and or whatever else they want to throw at you. Like, I don't think I ever failed a mission that was on normal.
Yeah.
The next one up is hard. I have screwed up a couple of those missions, but they just, with every difficulty, they add different types of enemies. So there are dudes with tasers. There are ones that have, like, almost bomb disposal unit gear.
Yeah.
I guess you would say. Which are just, like, full tanks. It takes, like, 2 clips of whatever gun you're using to take them down.
Yeah, straight
like,
to the
2
face,
grenades.
too.
Yeah. Then there are these fucking ninja assholes.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Which are by far the worst thing that I've experienced. They instantly knock you down. Like, it even has a terrible sound effect, and if you're playing with headphones on, it immediately makes my skin crawl because I know I'm going down. Like, it's so rough. But they're just like Sam fucking Fisher from Siphon Filter with the night vision goggles. It doesn't matter what time of day it is. Like, it could be bright as shit out and they still have these things on. But they just karate kick you in the face. You go down immediately, and then they just beat you to shit with a like a nightstick. And, like, the objectives themselves don't seem like they're going to be that difficult. It's just they throw up these imaginary walls, like...
Making your drill take 4 fucking minutes.
Which, like, that's not unrealistic.
Right.
Necessarily. Like, if you're going
breaking
to
down 4 times in the span of those 4 minutes. Yeah.
So, everything is timed that you end up doing. So, you'll, like, use a saw thing to go through a wall. You'll use a variety of different drills, thermal drills, whatever, thermite. Like, there's a whole bunch of different objects that you do to get past barriers, whether it be vault doors or cages or whatever, and they're all set on a timer that can randomly just stop dead.
Yeah.
So as you're defending these things, even if nothing ever touches it, it can just malfunction, and then you have to get to wherever it was, if you're not immediately in the area, to reset it.
Yeah.
The longest I think I had to deal with was probably about 4 minutes. I think you're right on that.
Yeah.
And there are certain upgrades that you can get that'll decrease that time, but not by enough that I feel is significant.
Yeah. It knocks it down to like 3.5. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like 15 seconds.
Which is still like a long time to be like hanging around something that's going to break down 4 times anyway. Yeah.
But like, I have this issue with games all the time where it's like, you want to make some things very realistic and you want to make others completely unbelievable. The amount of cops that are on your ass, even in the DC metro area, like, there are certain missions where I had to have had 200 some odd cops with a 3-minute response time on certain difficulties, which is just, it's not, you're not going to show up in SWAT gear in 3 minutes. I apologize, but I don't know. What mission types did you like best?
I liked trying to do stealth and then it going horribly wrong. So, Dan, did you play the first one at all?
Nothing. Okay. None of it.
So, if I'm remembering correctly, the first one was local co-op only. And I had such a good time playing that with my friend John when we were in middle school, I think. And it was just such like a fun experience to like plan out this heist with your friend sitting on the couch next to you and then like executing it and then somebody fucking up and it goes like all to hell in a moment.
Yeah.
This game had like none of that feeling. You know what I mean?
Well, there's no local co-op
right
at all.
Yeah.
Which we discovered.
Yeah.
So that eliminated that immediately.
Yeah.
And like the first two games only came out within 2 years of each other. So it's not like we had advanced that far into like online gaming by that point that it would have made a significant difference.
Yeah.
So to take that out of the equation entirely is an odd choice.
Especially since that was like the basis of the first one, was like,
yeah,
you and your buddy are gonna, you and your friends can plan this heist together, just like these guys are in the game. And then, I don't know, to make the second game like entirely reliant on online co-op with, I mean, most of the time randos, you know, which, you know, is not inherently a bad thing. I'm sure there's plenty of nice people out there who love to be slowed down by people who aren't used to the mechanics of a first-person shooter yet, but I don't like chancing that and not being able to play locally in a game that built its first game on entirely local co-op was not a good move, in my opinion.
That, and I mean, I've had really terrible experiences when I'm in the rare occasions where I feel like playing an online game, like even in sports games where like I don't fully know what I'm doing. I don't play this every day, every night before I, you know.
Yeah.
And to be like, what the hell are you doing? Why did you do that specific move? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, this is not my forte. Like, I'm sorry I'm bringing down the entire team.
Yeah.
This has that feel where, like, because even with you and I playing, if we make a mistake and get caught by a guard or whatever, if we're trying to do stealth, it's just whatever. Like, you and I know each other well enough where it's like, no big deal, we'll go again.
Yeah.
But with online gaming, I'm so paranoid that, like, someone's just going to yell at me.
Yeah.
For, like, setting off a camera.
Right, and it's like, dog, it's a video game. Like, chill, you know? You can just, I mean, worst case scenario for you, you don't join the same lobby as me next time, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Try the mission again. I'm not going to come along with you.
Right.
I don't understand the vitriol on online
I don't either.
Gaming. I don't get it.
This has the ability to kick players as well. So, like, someone can vindictively just kick you from something. Like, the one mission that we were doing, it was an automatic failure if we got caught, basically.
Yeah.
And that's not always the case. That's most of the time not the case. But, like, I could see someone being like, oh, this guy fucked it up for everybody. Kick him from the game. And then you're out that experience, that money, that whatever for completing the mission, which at that point is fully completable.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I don't want to chance a bad experience. But, you know, that's just me personally. Do you feel that the online doesn't function as well as local co-op? Because, I mean, you're in somewhere in the South Pacific at this point. So, like, local wasn't an option for us anyway.
Right.
So, having not played the first one, did you feel it was significantly different playing with me online as it was, like, playing locally in middle school?
No, but there is something to be said for playing next to the person that you're running a heist with, you know?
Yeah.
Just from like I don't know how to describe it, but like if you point at something, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. It did feel different, you know? Like, I feel like our characters are in the same room looking at the same thing, and it's like we're talking to each other over a comm system that our team has, you know? And it just didn't have the same feel.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it was better or worse. It was just a different feel. That's all.
I gotcha. Because, I mean, they I think they did try to make it as immersive as possible, even over online. Like, when we discovered that we could point out, like, watch out for this camera and kind of tag it. Yeah. I think that helped out a bunch. And this is definitely pro and con territory, but, like, I really wish they had just told you some of that shit as opposed to us figuring it out as we go along.
Well,
like,
Dan,
that shit
I do want to let you know there is a whole campaign of tutorial missions that you could do.
Yeah, but does it get into like those kind of specifics?
I don't know if it does the tagging thing, because by the time I realized the tutorials were there, I had figured out most of the things that they were trying to teach. Well, and that's like part of the problem with this game too, right? Is that everything is fucking like the menus are so busy and confusing, and they don't tell you anything.
Right.
They tell you about all the different types of the missions on the side. I didn't realize that you could hover over those options and pick which ones you wanted. I thought they were just there to show you which icons meant what for the missions that were on the screen, which is insane.
So, okay, I think
we're conceptually, baby.
We're a little bit in pros and cons.
Yeah.
But like when you start up the game, there are 4 things that you can do. And it's CrimeNet, which is your online matchmaking component. Mm-hmm. CrimeNet Offline, which is strictly like you're going to be the one character with 3 AI, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Your inventory, and then the safe room, which safe room, useless.
Yeah.
There's nothing there for you. You can go look at the money that you've amassed. You can look at your masks. You can look at your guns. You can use a targeting range that like doesn't help you really in any way.
Yeah.
Because most of the guns kind of feel the same anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. So when you go to either of the crime nets, it just shows you a map with like randomly popping up missions to do.
Yeah.
Then on the top left side, there's what looks like a legend. In any other map system that I've ever played in any game.
Yep.
What we discovered after more than a week of playing this game is that those are clickable options for other things.
Yep.
Your story missions, your tutorial missions.
They have like high XP, high money missions. There's a whole bunch of stuff.
There's like some kind of gambling component where you can you can risk some of your offline money that you don't have access to get items, but like it's randomized, and I didn't fuck with that at all.
Yeah.
And then just the Gage thing, like there's a character named Gage who I know little to nothing about, but you can collect packages throughout the other missions, and once you've amassed a certain number of whatever type, it gives you different upgrades for your guns or whatever. Like that's another thing that isn't even like, it doesn't fit with the rest of what's there. Like that should just be on your menu somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of this should just be on your menu somewhere,
mm-hmm.
but they have it in this other thing. It's what a con. It's just so confusing for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, if this had been a system in the first Payday, I could see why they would do it this way a little bit more, but this was not how you picked missions in the first Payday. Like, you just played through the story, and that was the option, you know?
But, like, okay, so we just talked about Witcher 3, and I think it's important if, like, because neither one of those games are available for console, Witcher 1 or Witcher 2. You
Mm-hmm.
have to build into your sequels something for people who are picking it up now. Taking for granted the fact that people probably didn't play a previous installment has to be thought about. And I don't think this did at all. Like, even if that is the case, to just drop a player in and be like, you know what you're doing, fucking have at it.
Yeah.
Sucks. There's a balance for sure, because like, if I play the third game in a series, I don't need a full tutorial all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I think the proper balance is having like skippable tutorials.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of games that do that, and I think that's probably the way to go. Like,
yeah,
do you know what you're doing? Like, ask me directly, and we'll go from there.
Right. Or do like the Final Fantasy 15 thing, where it's like, here's the tutorials you can do. Are there any that you would like to learn about?
Yeah,
you know,
that as well.
I don't need an FPS to teach me how to aim down the sights. You know what I mean?
Right.
I've been playing those for fucking 15 years at this point.
And there are certain games where like they'll even teach you how to move the camera around, and it's like, well, I have played a video game before.
Yeah, right. Even if I'm the biggest idiot on the planet, I can probably figure out that the analog stick, just by accident, I will probably figure out that the right analog stick is what moves the camera around.
Like, I know that we have some listeners that are not video game players at all and just like us as people,
mm-hmm.
which is why they listen. I kind of want to just like put a controller in their hand, sit down with them.
Yeah, can you intuit how to control a character?
Like, Brian Craig, I'm just going to have you at some point.
On blast.
Well, no, because we've had discussions of like, if there's something for them to play.
Yeah.
They don't have to buy a bunch of shit. Like, they're happy to do it. But like, if I bring my console over and just sit down with you and we play Borderlands 3 and just have you try to work it out, I think that'd be very fascinating. We'll figure it out. Even if it's just a research project, like not even a game to cover.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I don't know. But the fact that this game specifically is like, fuck you, here you go, just is so odd. Especially for a game that's 10 years old. Especially for a remastered version of a game that is 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I don't know. All right. So your favorite stuff was stealth.
The optional stealth ones. That's, yeah. Just because I liked it. That, to me, felt a lot like the first one.
I mean, I will say that the one that we did together, the Shadow Raid mission, was probably the most fun I had playing this game overall.
Yeah.
So this mission, you break into a warehouse, you get as much stuff out as you can while avoiding cameras, guards, and just like dock workers that don't have weapons but can alert the guards that do. And if you get caught immediately, you have 60 seconds to get out of there.
Yeah.
Depending on your difficulty, it adjusts how many items you need to smuggle out. And it's the one that Shea and I took the most time on while we were doing co-op. It's super fun. It's really frustrating, but like that is the best time I had overall. Even playing that one solo, like not even specifically the co-op thing, which I did have more fun with, but just playing it one player, trying to sneak around there, like was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It gave you the most stuff to strategize. It gave you the most stuff to really think on your feet. Because the other stealth stuff, like I broke into Giancarlo Esposito's house.
Who's in this game for fun.
Yeah, just there. Like, he plays a character called the Dentist. There's a bunch of, like, well-recognized actors that are in this just for the fuck of it. Like, Bakeem Woodbine is in it, who I love as, like, a random senator called the Elephant.
Yeah.
They're just there, and they have live-action footage of them. Not a cutscene, because you never see cutscenes. It's just, like, played in the background of mission briefing pages, where they're saying things that you will never hear. Like, it looks like movie scenes. I don't get that at all. But, like, Giancarlo Esposito at least does talk, like, if you're buying upgrades for a mission, does discuss what each one of those things do. So that's nice. But I was breaking into his house because we thought he betrayed us or something. Like, that was the parameters of the mission. And it's an optional stealth one that it's so fucking unreasonably difficult to do this as a stealth thing, because I have to use the thermal drill. I don't know how I would do that without alerting somebody.
Right.
Like, it's too loud. There are people patrolling inside the house the whole time. You can't close a door, which I don't fucking get at all. That would be the simplest thing in the world, to just close a door behind you in a stealth game. Like, once a door is open, it's open. Like, you're completely exposed.
They specifically addressed that during the Safe House tutorial. They are only concerned with opening doors in this profession, not closing them.
They literally say it.
From Bane. I don't know why I keep calling him Kane, but...
Because there's that other... weren't Kane in something or other? Like a... Is that a heist thing, or is that a cop thing? I don't remember.
I don't know. Hey, real quick though, let me tell you... Let me tell you 4 other people that are in this game.
Go!
Lance Reddick, R.I.P. Ron Perlman, Charlton Copley, and Mira Furlan, who is, like, well beloved as a character from Babylon 5, and also played Rousseau on Lost, who I also learned also passed away, so R.I.P.
Oh, no kidding.
Well. Yeah. 2021.
No shit. I didn't hear. Oh, man. So Lance Reddick is there because, for some fucking reason, this game is sort of kind of tied to the John Wick universe.
Yeah, because why not?
John Wick is a playable character. Standard, I think. There are John Wick DLC things, but one of the currencies that you can use in this, one of the things that you earn, are Continental coins, which are specifically from John Wick. And Lance Reddick is a John Wick character, so he, I think, just plays the same role. John Wick is not voiced by Keanu.
Oh, he for sure is not.
It is not even an attempt.
Yeah.
It is so bad. It's just a dude.
They said we only got name rights, not... Yeah. Not
it's his likeness, too. It does kind of... It looks like Keanu. But Ron Perlman plays Clay without saying that it's Clay from Sons of Anarchy. He's called Rust, which I think is like... Sure. And they just refer to him as the biker. So he's fucking Clay. You also have Bodhi from the more recent god-awful Point Break film. It is not Patrick Swayze, which you've already got Keanu's likeness. You could have gone with that one, but I guess they just didn't feel like paying the estate of Patrick Swayze. Also R.I.P., obviously. And then, biggest, weirdest swing, fucking Tony Montana in a Scarface DLC. You could have all of these people join up with you for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Implying that is a shared universe.
Yeah. Who was your go-to team?
I did use John Wick a lot.
Yeah.
Just because of the pure novelty and silliness of it.
Yeah.
I used Wolf, who's one of the... Actually, I think both of the characters that I used were part of the original 4, Clover and Wolf. No real reason other than one of the co-ops that we did, Wolf just, like, was
forever.
the dude. Yeah, like, picked both of us up multiple times over, seemingly unkillable.
Yeah. And
not offensive in any way. The one character that you were playing as, they wrote as just so dumb that it bummed me out. Yeah. I forget what her name was.
Bonnie,
yeah.
Yep.
Like, gave her a voice that just was not... It didn't feel okay.
Yeah.
But that was my main 3. What about you?
I did the all-female heist. Well, so I had...
You got Ocean's 8 on it.
I sure did.
You got Rihanna, you got
exactly.
Bullock.
Yeah. No, I had Clover, Joy, who likes to keep score of the specialists she kills in the game, which I thought was the...
Does she really? Like,
yeah.
Like, there's dialogue for it?
Yeah. Every time she kills... When she takes down, like, a shield, she's like, shield down, that's 5 points for me, or something like that.
Okay.
And then my third was a character named Jacket, who was a male-presenting body figure, but had, like, a female android voice, which I thought was fun.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was my main 3.
And then you were playing Bonnie as a while. Who did you switch to? I mean, we did John Wick for a while just because.
Yeah. I switched out of that when I changed up the team. A fourth female character.
Okay.
Or no. I'm sorry. I did Jimmy.
Oh, okay.
A strange-looking man who wears one of his sleeves rolled up.
Was that the tweaker guy?
Yeah.
With, like, a Coke all over his fucking face?
Yes.
Yeah, he's interesting. I played as Duke a lot of the time, who was, like, sort of Sinatra-y. Like, I think it was a wink to the original Danny Ocean, maybe. I don't know. But I enjoyed him quite a bit.
Yeah.
He had, like, a green tuxedo on, so with my horrifying wicker paper bag mask with a clown face painted on it, it just was a fun juxtaposition for me.
Yeah. Let's round out the pros and cons here. Do you have any pros for this game? I feel like we've been very negative on it.
I think the gameplay is fun overall. Like, I got burnout pretty quickly just because I wanted to experience as much as I could for the podcast, but I honestly could see picking this back up again at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Because no mission took more than, like, I'll say 30 minutes. There were some that spanned a couple days, but I can just avoid them. Like, Shadow Raid, I would do again. Like, it's just a fun experience trying to sneak in and out of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, the ones that are hit this jewelry store, hit this bank, hit this whatever,
are
more frustrating because of the time aspects of drills and whatever.
Yeah.
But, like, that one mission I could definitely see just dropping into for the hell of it. Like, it's not fully a time waster, but, like, if I've got a spare hour, I could do a couple runs at that and be happy with it. And that you know, it's pretty tight gameplay overall. Like, there's some real bullshit, especially when it comes to stealth, of, like, you turn a corner and there's just a dude who for no reason didn't show up in your tracking type thing. But, like, I don't know. I liked that a lot. Pros. Let's see.
I have 2 if you're out.
I think once we figured it out, like, arranging an online match was actually much easier than I thought it was initially. Like, for you and I to play, it was much more streamlined than I initially had expected.
Yeah.
Once you and I got the hang of it, getting into a mission was really easy. And I have had lobby issues with other online games that I've played, and this seemed to, and it might just be because it's not as popular as it used to be, so server space is a lot nicer. Like, I would give Payday 3 a shot at some point.
Yeah.
If we can get it cheap or free.
Yeah.
Just to see what they've expanded upon or improved upon. And hopefully, it's the same thing. Like, it's easy to get into something. But, like, yeah, I thought that was a light pro.
Yeah.
Okay, what are your 2 pros?
I really liked the mask customization. I thought that was really cool. Just because, like...
There are so many masks.
Yeah.
There's... an unreal amount of masks. Like, I really dug it.
Yeah. And what I liked is that you can give when you're doing like the solo, like the offline missions, you can give your team the masks that you've like created. So like you were saying in the intro, you don't see your mask ever, obviously, but you can still see the masks you made, which I thought was nice. It was such an easy win for them. And in a game that I think missed a lot of easy wins, it was good to see them capitalize on something that was, I think, a positive.
I agree with that.
You know what I mean? The other thing that I want to say is that I do think co-op with people is very strong in this game.
Yeah.
Like I said, the first one was built on that. And I am glad that you can specifically play with your friends. You know what I mean? And
I would even put this out there. Like, if we have listeners that have or would like to play Payday 2.
Yeah, definitely.
Fucking let's go. Send us an email or something. We'll give you some information, and we can get a 4-person team going. I would love to do that.
Yeah, as long as you're not going to freak out when I set off a camera, inevitably.
Because we will set off a camera.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, those are the 2 pros that I've got. What do you say, Dan? Throw some numbers?
I mean, I do have other specifics in terms, like...
Are they all negatives, or...?
Yeah, I mean, well, there are things that I do want to touch upon. The voice acting is fucking atrocious. Oh my god,
terrible.
So, the one founder of Overkill, Simon Viklund, plays your main point of contact, Bane. And it is one of the worst voice acting performances I've ever heard. Like, he's Swedish, so he gets some pass here, but his inflections are all weird. It's like everything is first take theater. It's so rough, some of the things that he says and the way that he says them, and some of the writing that he had to have had a hand in as one of the creative directors. Like, it's just not, like, objectively not good.
Well, it's such a weird choice to have him voice, like, the person with the most lines in the game.
Yeah.
Because he's not a voice actor. You know what I mean?
He's just a Swedish dude.
He's a composer.
Yeah.
Like, he did all the music for this game, and still consults with the studio on music. But, like, he's not a voice actor, and he fucking proves it. You know? Like, it's one thing when it's, the first Payday game, right? You don't have any money. You're like you're charting your course as a new studio with essentially 5 people. It makes sense to have him voice somebody in the first game. But in this game, like, they hired big names.
Yeah.
Get a Troy Baker or a Nolan North.
Yeah.
To do Bane in this game. Somebody who makes their money doing this job.
It's either one side or the other. Like, they get a Giancarlo who knocks it out of the fucking park because he's good at everything he does, even if the material's not good. Looking at you, Far Cry 6.
Mm-hmm.
He's still very good, like, at everything he does. For those of you who don't know, for some reason, we're talking about Gus Fring. Like, I want to assume everybody knows who Giancarlo Esposito is, but you never know. An absolutely astonishingly good actor.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, he shines in this, especially in comparison to all the other really terrible voice acting.
Yeah.
But, like, hire journeyman voice actors, hire veterans,
not even like journeyman or veteran, just like people who are voice actors.
At this time, Mercer would have done it for a fucking song. It would have been, it's whatever.
Which is something that Simon Viklund could have given him.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but, like, it just bummed me out. I don't get it. The writing overall is not good, but
abysmal. Yeah.
We'll get into that for part of the point system. But yeah, I think we're probably ready for numbers.
Okay, let's do it, Dan. Up first, does it work?
I don't really have any complaints here. I mean, there are little nitpicky things that I could get into, but I think in terms of if we're just like rating it on how an FPS is supposed to handle, this is fine. There are mapping issues that like I think could be resolved. I think you probably can change what your deployable buttons are.
I'm sure. Actually,
but
I'm not sure about that, but I'll report back next episode.
Okay. But I have no problem giving this a point here.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like I said at the top, it's pretty standard FPS fare, and that's not really a hard control scheme to get around. Physics work pretty well in this game. I will say ladders are going down a ladder is a nightmare. But otherwise, like movement and physics and stuff like that is pretty tight. So
I feel like the ladder situation was really easy to fix as well. Like if you have basically an engage button.
Yeah.
For picking locks or anything else, if you just had had it be an engage ladder, and then you just control it from there, would have solved everything.
Well, that's like one of those easy wins that I think they missed out on. Is like there's just like small things that are so easily fixable, and they just didn't do it. So yeah, but otherwise, I think the game worked fine. So I'm also going to give it a point. Up next, is it engaging?
Yeah, I mean, even outside of not having clear direction, I think even just the random missions, like just testing stuff out was kind of fun. The one where you get into the military base and like find test subjects was such a cool departure from like the other things that you were doing. Like it's essentially a heist, but like the stakes are different, the setting is different, everything about it was different. And like if it were just over and over bank, jewelry store, mall, whatever, where it's just get in, steal the stuff, get out. Yeah. I don't think it would be. These random ones do a lot of work to make this more engaging. So I'll go full point here.
I think I'm going to give it a half here, but I don't really have justifiable reasons for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, this is one of the more subjective ones that we have point wise anyway. Like if you didn't feel as engaged, like I don't see an issue with having a half point here.
I think maybe my thing is that like I did not like playing with the AI nearly as much as I liked playing with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The AI is fucking broken.
Yeah. It's so dumb but indestructible, so you have to lean on these fucking idiots. Also, I should have brought this up during pros and cons, but like the AI, you like have to toss some of these like valuables to carry to the truck or whatever. The AI moves so much slower with them than you do. So like if you're playing with 3 AI and you have to like transport, there's like all these like car chase missions. I don't want to get into it, but they move very slow with these packages, and that's fucking irritating.
Yeah, if you just throw money at them, that's not that bad. But if you're like doing several bricks of gold, they crawl. Yeah, for sure.
I guess that's where I'll say the half point is coming out of.
No, I think that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. All right, Dan, next, does it look good?
So even the remastered edition is several years old at this point. So I don't have any complaints. I don't think it looks incredible, but character models are all fine. Settings are all fine. It's not like it's a huge open world that they had to do a lot of detail. Like it's very specific in how they had to do things. I mean, do we give it a half for being middle of the road? Or, you know, it looks better than some of the games we covered, but this is a AAA game. Like it's supposed to. Yeah. Like it's not awe-inspiring. Yeah. It does the job. So like I feel like that's probably a half point.
Yeah. I think the bodies of the heisters are very odd looking.
Yeah, it's like there's a constant ragdoll thing to them.
Well, their shoulders are all weird. They're all too broad. And just like their proportions are so strange. For some of them, some of them just look like standard video game people, but then like every person in the street has like these massive shoulders, and they just look so strange to me. So I think I'm gonna put it at a half there as well.
Yeah,
for that reason.
It's not terrible, but it's also nothing special at all.
Right. And, if you're getting 505 money which I mean, I guess they weren't, but if 505 is distributing your game, it should look better than it does,
Yeah.
Is there replayability?
So kind of inherently, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
It's just a series of missions, and I did play missions several times over. So I guess a full point, just because it's baked into what the experience is.
Yeah.
And being that I already know I will 1,000% play at least Shadow Raid again, yeah, I guess I have to give it a full point.
Yeah. I think that the co-op with your friends is doing a lot of the heavy lifting for this game. I don't know that I would play this on my own necessarily, but I definitely would play with you, Dan, or, any of our listeners if you want to start.
Literally anybody. Email us and we will play with you.
Yeah.
We won't do a background check or anything.
Nope. So I think just on like the friends co-op, I think gives it a point. All right, is there a story?
Fuck no. I mean, they want to say that there is, but there fucking for sure isn't. Like,
there's a story mode.
They don't give you reason to care about the characters. They don't give you a reason to care about the contacts. The 4 main dudes that were the carryover from the last game, I don't care about. There's a rescue mission with a character that you're not giving context as to whether or not you should care about them.
Mm-hmm.
There are revenge things that you're not giving context as to why you should care about them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just a string of missions at the heart of it.
Yeah.
There really isn't. I mean, there's definitely lore, but I'm not going to take the time to read into any of it. Like, I think they've had tie-in comics and things like that, but I don't care enough because they don't give me a reason to care enough. Mm-hmm. So, fucking 0.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Finally, Dan, our big 5-point question. Is it worth the cost?
So this retails for the Crime Wave edition at $19.99 across the board, seemingly. I don't know. What do you think this is worth? For what it is, for what you were able to do, for just really enjoying the co-op aspect of it. Like, how much do you think is a fair price for this?
I would say between $10 and $12.
Yeah, I think I agree.
This. Yeah.
So that I mean, that's like a roughly, by our scale, like a 3 point, which I think is probably fair.
Yep. That's where I was landing on it also.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
I just think because like the story is so weak, and like
if this were bulked out, with some exposition, I think this would be a much, much stronger game. And I have no idea what is planned for the third. I have not looked into it.
Yeah.
Again, this is my first experience with Payday overall.
Yeah.
I never played the first one. And I like story. Like, I'm a story-driven gamer.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I do time wasters, but, like, that fills a specific need. This, I could use story for. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. I think 3 is fair.
Yeah.
All right. So that's going to put our final scores for today. 6.5 points from me, 6 points from Shea. So that is over a 5-point average. I do think, that means that we recommend it. But numbers regardless, is this a game that you would recommend?
To play specifically with you or I, yes.
Okay.
I mean, there's many more robust first-person shooters out there. Not so many that have the co-op aspect, but I think if you have, if you can get it for free, especially, and you have like 3 people that you want to play with, I think it's worth getting.
Yeah. Like, if you do want to play with us and you have PlayStation Plus, I don't know if it's on Xbox, whatever their subscription service is called, Game Pass. I also don't know that there's cross console play. But so if you have it for PlayStation, do a couple missions on your own just to get yourself familiar, level up a little bit, and come join us. We'll have a great time. We're gonna do Shadow Raid, just so you know. All right. So, hey, Shea, do you want to play a game?
Dan, match cards to make massive flocks of birds. I would love to play a game. That is, of course, Dan, of course, a game called Q-Birds.
Oh, of course.
Of course.
Silly me. Well, Shea, as I stated on this very show, online gaming isn't really my thing. But given the choice between grinding through a single-player campaign for 60-plus hours and getting decimated by a 14-year-old in a 15-minute battle royal, I'm gonna take single-player option every time. However, despite my lack of patronage, the online gaming industry will do just fine. In fact, according to Statista, revenue specifically from online gaming is projected to make in excess of $26 billion by the end of 2023. So yeah, we know that online games are popular. But which are the most popular?
Oh boy.
I have scouted data from 5 days ago, the most up-to-date information I could find on the 10 games with the highest monthly user count. And all you have to do is guess which games are on that list. This is going to be totally blind, and we can do this in a couple different ways. We can do it one by one, or you can give me a list of 10, however you want to do it, but I'll give you a point for each one that you can guess. I'll even give you, let's say, 12 shots at these 10 games.
Okay.
So how do you want to do this? And just go one by one?
No, I feel like that's going to take too long.
Okay. So you're going to put together a list of 12?
I guess so.
All right. I even have the monthly user numbers here in front of me.
Okay, is this all
So this
games?
is subscription, this is non-subscription, it covers kind of everything.
So am I, are MMORPGs going to be on this list?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Fortnite, definitely one of them. Overwatch 2. Because that just dropped, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say that's
within the last year.
Yeah. Fuck. Is old school RuneScape going to be on this list? I'm putting it on. Old school RuneScape.
I'll tell you what. Just to help things out, I will give you how many active users are at the number 10 slot, so you know what it's at or above.
Okay.
6 million active players monthly.
I fucking hope old school RuneScape has 6 million users still.
All right, so we're officially adding that to the.
I'm gonna burn a slot at old school school RuneScape because I want it to be there.
I love it.
What's the last COD, the multiplayer COD that just came out? Warzone, I think it's called.
Probably.
I'm gonna say that.
Warzone? Okay.
I am judging from your unfamiliarity with the title of the game, though. I'm gonna take that off the list.
It's not unfamiliarity with the name so much as unfamiliarity with the fucking IP. I don't play those games.
Sure.
So it's not necessarily that. I mean, I don't want to push you in one direction or the other. But if you're telling me that that's the most online version of that, because I do remember Modern Warfare being more story driven.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right. That probably wouldn't be the one on there. So if you're saying that there is a Call of Duty that's more specifically geared toward online play, I think that's probably a safe bet.
Okay. I'm going to leave it off for now.
Okay.
And switch it out with League of Legends.
Okay.
What's the other one? The Blizzard one?
StarCraft.
No.
I mean, that's Blizzard.
They got a panda one. Or I shouldn't say a panda one. One that's it's there was a release for it a while ago that was a panda magician kind of a thing. What the fuck is that game called?
World of Warcraft?
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
I knew what you were talking about, but just the fucking panda one. Craziest way to describe that. Oh, that's so funny.
I'm gonna say Roblox also.
I could see it. I could understand that.
Jesus, I could not even tell you. Final Fantasy 14. We'll say.
Okay.
How many is that?
That is 7 so far. Just as a hint, because I'm a fair person, you have not even mentioned the top 3 yet.
Well, that's not a good sign.
I mean, you definitely have some correct so far.
Yeah. I would be
you
stunned.
Will be earning points. This won't be a full shutout.
Not on this list. Genshin Impact?
Okay.
Put that on there. I've seen a lot of shit on that on the App Store for that. So fuck me, man. This is so bad.
You got 4 more.
Yeah. I don't know that I can come up with 4 more is the point I'm making.
Okay. So the stats that I have for each one of these games are the active players monthly, the developers, and the year that they were released. I'm happy to give you hints in that direction if you want. The most recent game is 2020.
Oh, so I guess not Overwatch 2 then. Change that to just regular Overwatch. Minecraft? Is that still relevant?
I do see content for that all the time still, yeah.
I'm going to put it on the list just because I'm worried about coming up with 3 more.
Are there any ones that just like pop into mind, even if you don't think they're that relevant anymore? Like
Elder Scrolls Online? They must have a bunch because they're still putting out... I don't think that's top 10 though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What was the Leroy Jenkins game?
I think that was World of Warcraft.
Was it? Okay. The Panda one?
Yeah. Panda game.
Yeah. 3 more. Can you give me a studio of a game that I haven't guessed yet?
Yeah. There's a Valve game on there that you haven't mentioned. Okay. And there is an Activision game that you haven't put on your list. One of these is like straight up the name of the game and then just like corporation, so that I can't do. Respawn is on there you haven't mentioned. I
couldn't tell you a Respawn game, I don't think.
Yeah.
Or I probably could, but not without you saying
right.
Another one, you know. Oh man, would Smash Brothers be a game that would show up?
It could. There is an online component.
Yeah. I'm gonna put that one on there.
Okay.
Smash Bros. I don't think that would still be top 10, but
we're in total shot in the dark territory now.
Yeah,
so.
I am limping to the end of this one. Oh, GTA 5.
There. Okay.
What am I at? Is that 11?
That is 11.
Okay, thank Christ. I'm almost out of the woods. Man, I'm glad I put old school RuneScape on here now.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Man, genuinely, Dan, you could not put a gun to my head. And
you just want to roll with the 11? I mean, I'm fine with that. Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to, because I can't think of a fucking other online game.
All right, so we will go from the bottom up. At number 10, this is the one that you will kick yourself over.
Yeah.
Call of Duty Warzone. That's your 6 million. Yeah, that is the Activision.
Oh,
and that is
why
also...
didn't I just put that back on the list?
I don't know. I mean, you said it so early on that I feel like I should give you a point, to be honest. Like,
well,
in fact, I'm going to give you a point for that. No, for real, because like,
get 2 on this one.
I feel like I made your confidence waver on that because I have to try to be impartial. Like, I don't want to point you in any direction or the other, and I feel like I may have discouraged you a little bit just by my demeanor. So I'm going to take that upon myself. I'm going to give you the point for that one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you.
Call of Duty is a massive franchise. So we're going to give you that point. Number 9 at 8 million. Among Us. I'm surprised you didn't mention Among Us. I know that that's not our thing.
I did not realize that was still that popular.
For real? Neither did I.
Yeah, I thought that had kind of been a flash in the pan.
Yeah, it's apparently still kicking.
Like, if this was the month that Fall Guys came out, I would have said Fall Guys.
For sure.
I definitely would not say it now.
Yeah.
Except for when it shows up in 4 slots. So, anyway.
Moving right along. This one's out of left field a little bit. I didn't expect you to get this one because I wouldn't have even thought of it as an option. But Call of Duty Mobile actually has more monthly users. It is the most played Call of Duty game currently at 15 million.
Okay.
Number 7, League of Legends. You get a point there.
All right.
That clocks in at 27 million active users.
Still. Wow.
I know. And that's only number 7. We're only going up from there. Yeah. This one totally surprised me. Hearthstone at 30 million users.
Lex will smack you in the face that is Hearthstone.
Man, go for it, Lex. Well, that's fine. 30 million users, and surprisingly...
If a fucking mobile version of Magic the Gathering shows up on this list, I'm leaving the podcast.
Yeah, okay. So, number 5 35 million users. Counter-Strike Global Offensive. Still.
How?
I know. 2012. It's still fucking going.
Good God.
Number 4, that's a point. 45 million users. Fortnite Battle Royale, sorry. I don't want to get smacked for that one too.
Yeah.
Fortnite is still massively popular, but less than half of our number 1, so we're going to keep going. Number 3, Apex Legends.
I don't believe that.
It's still free is the thing. Like that's still like it has in-game purchases and things like that, same as Fortnite, but the main game, if I'm correct, is still free. So that's going to draw a lot of users in. Number 2, 95 million users plus. You get a point for Minecraft. Still incredibly popular, still the best-selling game of all time, I believe, by modern standards. Not much more to say there. Minecraft is
95 million people still play Minecraft.
For at this point, 12-year-old game still. Yeah.
Crazy.
There's still a massive community of creators that are just building shit to build shit. I mean, I've been thoroughly impressed with like the roller coasters that they've built, like themed roller coasters. Yeah. But number 1, not even mentioned, and I'm surprised because I didn't think people still played this because of the prominence of Fortnite. PUBG is still... Oh,
I was so sure that was not... Because the... whatever their, like, not sequel, but they did, like, a big release.
Yeah.
And it did so poorly, I thought that it had tanked it.
100 million plus monthly users still for PlayerUnknown Battleground. That is your number 1. But let me total this up. You got 1, 2, 3...
I'm counting 4.
4 points? Yeah, you know what? Nothing to scoff at, especially for this being completely blind.
At a genre that I don't care for.
Like, this is an ever-changing list. I'm going off of the most recent data. Grand Theft Auto 5 has been on this list as of, like, a couple months ago. Like, so that was an absolutely fair guess. And yeah, it is a blind spot for me as well. I would have fucked this up royally. The fact that World of Warcraft is not on this at all, totally shocking. The only Blizzard game is Hearthstone, which I would not have guessed either. So, I mean, 4 points, I would be absolutely happy with that. I don't care about online gaming. I've never played any of these. So, you know, I think you did great, personally.
Hey, thanks.
You're very welcome. But add 4 points to the big board. And that's just about going to do it for us today. As always, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at BNGpod, where we post sales that you should be aware of that we call cheap codes, as well as custom artwork for every episode.
If you want to share the show, you can do so with our hosting site, which is anchor.fm/BNGpod. If you want to follow us on Twitch, you can do so at twitch.tv/BNGpodcast. And if you want to catch past VODs of the stream, you can do so on our new YouTube channel, where we will be posting all of the Twitch streams as well as the audio from every episode at youtube.com/@BrokeNGamingPodcast.
And if you want to send us an email for any reason, you can do so at brokengamingpod@gmail.com. Email us to play some Payday 2, and we can do crimes there, since I'm not allowed to promote crimes of any sort. I have a new contractual agreement with Shea. Hey, Shea! We have one more game for our AAA Summer Series. What are we playing next episode?
Next time, Dan, we will be wrapping up our AAA Summer by welcoming back Timmy to the show to cover Kingdom Hearts. So make sure you tune in for that.
This is a high-stakes episode for me because, as well documented, I have a Kingdom Hearts tattoo. So we will see how this fares. But until then, goodbye, absolutely everyone.
Goodbye. Hey, what did you call Sam Fisher's game?
Wasn't that Siphon Filter?
It was Splinter Cell.
Ah, whatever. It's all Tom Clancy nonsense.
Which I believe you did the last time you brought up.
Look,
Sam
I don't
Fisher.
like Tom Clancy. Jack Reacher can go fuck himself.
All right, well, we don't need to get into all that.
Look here, John Krasinski. I don't know, is that the one he's on? Anyway.
No.
he does
Jack
a Tom
Ryan.
Clancy though, right?
He's on Jack Ryan.
Whatever. White guy named 3. Fuck the Sam Fisher Splinter Cell dudes then.